Hello and welcome to this latest video. In this video we're going to look at Options Part 3. This will be the last part of Options, but not the last part of setting up NetBeans, as there's a couple more items that we need to look at after the options. So let's get started. As you remember, last time we just finished C++, where it was really just to make sure that it was on our system. Okay, in team, this is for when you're working in a group of people or working with a group of people. It's also quite useful for when you're working alone to make sure that you know what you're doing, you know where you were, and this type of thing, and also for saving your files to the web, to Git and that type of thing, to GitHub, GitLab, etc. Bitbucket. Okay, so action items. First of all, to-dos. You can have to-do, fix me, whichever. So if you use a different pattern, just add it. For example, you might do to-do with a capital and an at. So for example, at to-do like that. Okay, it's as simple as that. So press enter. And we also have the capital one. Okay, there's no real need to change any of the supported MIME types. That's probably going to cover everything that we're going to use on our system. Right, versioning. Here we go. And versioning, general, show versioning labels. With Git, this isn't really necessary because it actually does put a little icon on the files that have been changed and do need committing. The versioning system we're going to use is Git. If you remember right at the beginning, we actually installed Git in one of the very early videos. But if you want to use Mercurial or Subversion, you're perfectly welcome to do so. I haven't got Mercurial or Subversion installed. So Git, for my purposes, this is excellent. This is exactly what I need. You could, if you want to add to this, it depends on what you require. Remote Git, exactly the same type of thing. Again, I don't need any of that. But what I do need to change is something in history. It says remove local history at files older than 7 days. Well, it depends on how many revisions you do, how big your disk space is, and this type of thing. But I will sometimes go back during a project and have a look at some of the older ones that I've changed. So I'm going to change that to 14 days. You could actually click on never remove local history files. It depends on how long it takes you to do a project. For me, it's usually between, once I start coding, between 7 and 14 days. It can take a little bit longer on that. Okay, so we need to click apply, and that will be applied to our system. So let's have a look at appearance. Okay, document tabs. This is how you want the documents to appear at the top here. I'm quite happy with this. If you want multiple rows, for example, if you've got a lot of documents open, then you can actually have the multiple rows as well, and the maximum row count. Your choice again as to what you want to do. You can add information to each of the tabs. I actually show a path in the title bar, which we'll come to later. You can show the full file path. Again, it's your choice. Now, normally I don't set these, but it depends on how big the project is. If I've got a very big project, I will. Okay, Windows. this is what happens when you move the windows around the screen. Again, I'm quite happy with the default settings, so we're going to do that. Show path in title bar. Now I do like this. It will show the path up at the top here. Okay, it's very useful at times. And so consequently I leave all the settings as the default settings. Look and feel. Because we're on Linux, it has the Linux look and feel. You can change it to make it look like various different things. You need to restart the IDE if you do that. I like to click on maximize use of native look and feel. If you're using Windows, then the preferred look and feel will be Windows, not GTK+. Okay, so I'm going to click apply on that one. Oh, and it's done a quick apply on that. Okay, so next is miscellaneous. Now these are basically, but not all, the plugins that we installed right at the beginning of setting up NetBeans. Okay, now if you remember, I have the clock in the bar. You can change how the clock looks and that type of thing. I'm quite happy with what we have here. You can, as I say, you can change it if you wish. Okay, I have noticed that this doesn't work on NetBeans, Apache NetBeans 9, or doesn't seem to work on Apache NetBeans 9. You can set alarms if you wish to remind you to do things, and you can set timers if you wish, okay, to see how long it's taking you to do something. Right, color codes preview. Now, this is when you actually put in a hexadecimal color code into the system, into say HTML or something like that, and it will actually give you a block of colored. Now you can actually use name colors. I set these for as is, so it's for CSS, it's less SAS and SCSS. So basically, it's just for the markup, the actual. Oh dear. It's just for the CSS. Okay, diff. This is differences between various different versions of the same file that you may have for in history, etc. I leave it exactly as is on that. You might want to ignore changes in case, depending on how you actually write your code. Now, if you remember when we were looking back, we said that the templates we would use emmet rather than the inbuilt one, and we changed the inbuilt one to space and shift. So we want to actually change emmet into the tab key, which is the default for emmet in virtually all the other languages. Okay, so next one, files and file associations. If you have a file that you don't want to be shown in the IDE, you can add it here. For example, you might decide that any file with your initials at the end you don't want showing, so you can actually put those in as well. At the moment, I'm quite happy with that. I might change it to have my initials in there. JSON Navigator, not really something that we need to change. The defaults are fine on that one. Markdown. Now, Markdown we will use in Git for doing the README file, basically. It's unlikely we'll be using it anywhere else, and quite simply I just leave it as is. It seems fine for me. It doesn't seem to make I'm quite happy to use it like it is. Okay, output. Okay, this is basically how you're going to see various different things. If you want the windows to change, the output windows to change, then you can. The output window shows at the bottom here. Okay. In fact, I think there might be one there at the moment. Yes, there we go. It's actually showing at the bottom at the moment. And we're going to change to it. Yep, there's nothing on it. So, but this is how the output window looks. Send to. Okay. You can send files to various things to check to see what it's doing, or you can write bash scripts, that type of thing. I tend to leave this as is. It's quite happy. You can, for example, you can echo out things about yourself if you wish, if you want to do a shell script, a bash script, for example. Most of this will go out to a bash or your command prompt. Okay, finally, terminal, your command prompt. This is how you want it to look. Again, I'm quite happy with this, and again, it will actually show up in this section here. Right, I think that covers everything for options. We may change one or two again later, but they should be fine for now. So, for example, Emmet, so we'll click on OK, and everything should now be set up. We now need to set up some other items. For example, we need to set up some of the templates, and we might need to set up 1 or 2 other default items. So, for example, the height of the notification window, the output window here, I tend to make it a bit smaller, and you do that just by dragging it down. Okay, so that's all for this video. As I say, the next video we'll look at templates. I'm not going to go too deeply into templates just yet, because that requires writing code, and we haven't looked at writing code. We're going to look at setting your licenses and that type of thing first. Okay, I hope you found the video useful. My name's John. Thank you for watching.